So do not touch the box. So he done scared them all. The boys know they better not touch that box. They don't even want to go in the room. But in the meantime, night has fallen, and Obed and Keturah goes to bed. Obed is laying in bed, and something just keeps calling to him. He's hearing some music. He know ain't nobody singing because everybody's asleep. But he's hearing some music. And some keep drawing him in that room. So he goes, gets up, and he goes in the room where the ark is. And he pulls up a chair. You don't want to get too close to it now. But he pulls up a chair. He don't quite understand what's going on because he don't know why he's there. He ought to be in the bed with his wife. All right. And why is he in that room with that killer box? Oh. But all night, Obed sat there. All night. And then that happened for a couple of more nights. Obed would hear some singing, and he'd see some lights. And the only kind of lights the colors and things that he would see was only kind of colors that only women knew anything about. Like mauve. You know, men don't know nothing about color mauve. You know. So he would see all these colors, and he'd go in there, and he'd sit there, and he'd sit there, and then soon he began to cry. Obed has never cried. As Elder Booker said, you know, wasn't nobody chasing him. He had nothing to cry about. But he sat there before the box, and tears just rolled down his eyes. And then he began to cry like a baby. He stood there. And the next thing you know, he was lying prostrate on the floor, crying and crying until the next morning. And the next morning, Keturah woke up, and she fell to the side, and she didn't feel Obed. Where's Obed? Obed never gets up this early. Where's Obed? So as she was looking, she saw this light. So she thought maybe Obed had a candle and went to another part of the house. When she got up, she saw Obed lying prostrate before the Lord. She said, Obed! What are you doing? This is a killer box. What are you doing? He said, no. This is not a killer box. Only to those that don't do the way he said do. She said, but why are you in here? Why are you laying down? He said, come just a little bit closer. She came close, and soon she began to cry. And she laid down prostrate beside Obed. And they were there all day long. And then the kids, she heard the kids calling, Mom, Dad, where are you? Where are you? And when they saw that their mom and dad was lying in the floor, they screamed, Mom, Dad! They thought, that mom and dad is dead. Okay. But when they lifted their head, they said, what are you doing? I thought you said we couldn't come in here. This is a killer box. And you're here and you're laying almost touching the killer box. Obed-Edom said, come on, kids. Come on. So they all sat up in front of the killer box. Obed had never seen his children so quiet. They were 7 of them, and they were quiet as a mouse. And Obed looks at them, and he smiles. because they began to cry. And so the whole family is like crying in front of the killer box. Now Obed's household had been blessed so. I mean, the corn was growing 5 on a stalk. The hens were laying eggs, not once a day, but 3 times a day. The cows were being milked every hour because they were gorged. The land was green where Obed was. Obed was being blessed because he was just laying in the presence of God. And Obed's neighbors were hot. And they said, they got together and they said, you know what? I think Obed is into the occult. Look, our land is dry over here and his land is green. Our hens don't even lay eggs half the time. Obed's up to something. And I'm going to go and tell the king that Obed got the box there, but he's messing with the occult. And before he decides to go, he meets up with Obed. And he said, Obed, what are you doing? Why is it that your grass is green and ours is brown? He said, well, you know, I've been laying before the Lord. And the Lord has been giving me so many songs. And this is one that he gave to me. I got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I got the month of May. I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? My God, talking about my God, my God, ooh. Is that all right? But we're going to go tell the king. You know, they sent message to the king and King David, and they said, King, Obed is up to something. He's singing some strange songs that we ain't never heard before. And he said they come from the box. Dave said, that's all right. Because now we know how to bring the box home. And we're going to get the box. We're going to get the box. We're going to sing and dance and praise the Lord, but we're going to get the box. We're going to get the box. We're singing and praising and dancing. We're going to get the box. So, David's on his way, going to get the box. But in the meantime, Keturah wakes up one morning, and she knows that if Obed is not in the bed, he's in the room where the box is. And she said, Obed, where are you? When he didn't answer, she knew where he was. So she headed to, but at the door was a suitcase. What is a suitcase doing at the door? So she goes in and she says, Obed, what is that suitcase doing